The arguments inside the forest grew louder, not in sound but in feeling. The villagers began waking at the same hour every night, 3:17 a.m., not to noise, not to dreams, but to a pressure in their chests, as if something massive was leaning against the walls of their homes. Listening, children started drawing the same picture in school: a tall tree split down the middle, eyes in the bark, and a man standing inside it, watching. Mara stopped speaking after she returned from the forest. She sat near her window every evening, just staring at the tree line. Some nights she pressed her ear to the glass, as if trying to hear something very far away. One night, she finally did. Mara. Not from the forest. From beneath her floorboards. The whisper was faint, splintered, like a voice traveling through roots. She froze. The house creaked softly. The wood beneath her feet pulsed once, twice. Then she understood. The forest hadn't stopped at the boundary. It had gone underground. Roots had been spreading for years beneath the soil, threading under the village like veins beneath skin, quiet, patient, learning the shape of every home. Another whisper rose, this one layered. Ancient. She remembers. The ground beneath her cracked, thin roots slipped through the seams and the floorboards, searching, brushing against her ankles like blind fingers. She stumbled back as more pushed through the walls, the ceiling, the fireplace forcing their way into the room. Outside, dogs began howling. Lights flickered across the village. The forest was breathing again. Mara ran into the street as houses groaned around her. Wood splitting as roots erupted from below. Neighbors screamed as floors collapsed inward, swallowed by dark, soil-filled cavities that hadn't been there seconds before. The earth opened in the center of the village square, not a sinkhole. A mouth. Massive roots spiraled outward, forming the shape of a colossal tree trunk rising from beneath the town itself. Bark hard in overpacked soil. Branches stretched upward, tearing through rooftops as if they were paper. The demon forest was no longer at the edge. It was here. And in the center of the forming trunk, suspended within a web of roots, was Elias. His eyes were open, awake. The demon's voice rolled through the air like distant thunder. You cannot guard a door, it said, when there are no walls. Mara stepped forward despite the chaos. What do you want? The massive shape within the trunk shifted. Eyes opened across its surface, blinking slowly over the entire village. Growth. Roots shot outward, wrapping around fleeing villagers, pulling them toward the base of the rising tree. Some were dragged screaming. Others went silent. The moment the roots touched their skin, Mara felt something coil gently around her wrist. Not violent, familiar. She looked down. A thinner root, pulsing faintly. Elias's voice whispered through it. It needs memory to spread, he said. Fear, stories, that's how it grows. The realization hit her like ice water. Every warning, every tale, every whispered legend had fed it. The forest didn't expand by soil. It expanded by belief. The demon's laughter shook the air. You carry me when you speak of me, it said. You plant me in every mind. The roots tightened around the village, binding it like a gift waiting to be enwrapped. Mara looked at Elias, Shrilly looked at him. Beneath the bark splitting his skin, beneath the roots threading through his chest, his eyes were still fighting. Then we stopped telling it, she said. The demon paused. A ripple of uncertainty moved through the tree. Mara turned to the villagers who were still free. Don't say its name. Don't tell its story. Don't remember. Confusion, terror, but something else too, hope. The demon roared as cracks formed along its trunk. The eyes embedded in the bark blinked rapidly, some closing, some dissolving into knots of wood. No, it hissed. I am older than silence, maybe, Mara said, but you live on our voices. She grabbed the root around her wrist and held it tight. I remember you, she whispered, not in fear, but in defiance, and I let you go. Around her, villagers closed their eyes. The whispers faded. The chanting stopped. The massive tree trembled violently as if struck from within. Bark split. Roots recoiled. Then, ground buckled as the structure began collapsing inward, folding into itself like something starving. Elias screamed, not in pain, but release. Light burst from the cracks in the trunk. Then everything fell. When the dust settled, the village square was empty. No massive tree. No exposed roots. No demon. Only a crater of disturbed soil. And silence. Elias was gone. The forest at the edge of the village looked smaller now. Thinner. As if something essential had been cut from it. Years passed. The villagers stopped telling stories about the demon forest. Children were warned simply not to wander too far. No legends. No details. And slowly, the trees stopped leaning forward. But sometimes, deep in the woods where the ground still feels softer than it should, there is a single tree split down the middle. If you press your ear against its bark, you won't hear whispering. You'll hear breathing, waiting to be remembered.